My name is Chuck Sussman. Today is Tuesday, December 15th, 1998. I'm here to interview Mark Rubin, who is a survivor of the Nazi Holocaust. I'm doing this under the auspices of the Holocaust Documentation and Education Center, Incorporated. The purpose of this interview is to add to the oral history of the Holocaust so that through this living memorial, future generations will know what happened, and with this knowledge, we hope to prevent any such occurrence in the future. Thank you very much for joining us today, Mark.
You're welcome.
I'd like to start talking about the pre-war years. Would you please state your name?
My name is Mark Rubin, R-U-B-I-N.
And what was your name at birth?
At birth was Moses Rubin. Moses Alexander Rubin.
And let's talk about the town from which you came, but first, please tell me, where were you born?
I was born in Piotrkow.
Could you spell that for me?
P-I-O-T-R-K-O-W.
And that is in?
In Poland.
And what was your birth date?
December 10, 1923.
Now, where did you grow up?
In that city, Piotrkow.
Is that near any large city?
Yes, it's between Warsaw and Łódź.
And about how many people live in Piotrkow?
50,000.
And about how large was the Jewish population?
About a few thousand.
And how did most of the general population earn their living?
There were Jewish businesses, factories. We have regular, normal life. There were some poor section, but that's like in any other city. But Jewish places were in business. They had businesses, homes used to own. And yeah, they lived very well. The stores was nice, just like you see them here today, really.
Was that particular area known for any special thing?
Yeah. Before the war, the city was well known. They had a 25th Division Polish Army stationed there.
Now let's talk about your family and how they lived in your town.
My father used to own a leather store. Leather, everything leather, on everything for shoemakers, for saddle, for companies, they need the belts for the machines. Plus, my father used to deliver everything for the army. He used to get a contract for the army and for the prison.
We're delivering leather, raw leather material?
Uniform, depends, all different things he used to deliver. He used to shop for them, or once a month he used to deliver.
In the leather business, he supplied just raw leather, hides, things of that type?
Yeah.
How many children were in your immediate family?
4. 2 girls, 2 boys.
And what were the names of your brothers and sisters?
My brother, Joseph Leib, my sister, Rachel, and a younger sister, Helen.
And what were your parents' names?
Estera and Benjamin.
And your mother's maiden name was?
Gomolinsky.
Could you spell that for me?
G-O-M-O-L-I-L-I-S-K-Y.
And how far were you able to go in your schooling?
I was young, I was going to private school. I used to go to public school. But then I couldn't take it because in the public school, when we used to come in the morning, they used to pray, and there was Catholic country. And I didn't go on my knees and things like that. Then I didn't want to stay in the store, in the school. Then I moved to Hebrew Gymnasium. We had private school when my father was on the board. Then we all we got transferred to the gymnasium, Hebrew Gymnasium.
It was in the same city?
The same city.
And how many years of schooling did you have?
For 8 years.
And Mark, were you or your family members of any organizations?
My father was, everybody when they used to come, when Gorion and all the big shots used to come, my father used to make banquets for them. And he was active in the Zionist organization.
Any particular organization that you can recall?
No, I was too young. For I know one day my father came from meeting. They came foreign guests from the Zionist organization. And they say to my father that he should move to Palestine at that time. Then my father came to, when he came home, he tell his my mother, listen, Esther, let's pack and go to. Then my father, why are you going there? It's good like in America. Then my mother said, we have America here, because we had the maid and everything, and my mother didn't want to go.
You remember some of the visitors that your father entertained at that time before the war?
Could be Herzl, or he lived those days, I don't remember. I know of big shots from the Zionist organization.
Were you a member of any Zionist youth organization?
I know I had Zioni when we were kids, just like the scouting here. Yeah.
Your brothers and sisters as well?
Yeah.
And this was a Zionist youth organization?
Yeah.
Did you have meetings or?
We used to have meetings, we used to go to the woods, and we used to practice all different things.
Now let's discuss the time that Hitler was on the rise to power in Europe, but before the war came to Poland and before your town was occupied. During the pre-war years, what did you hear about what was happening in Germany?
We know that Hitler is preparing for war, and we knew about him that he was anti-Jew. Then I remember we stopped buying German products, and then we heard that the Germany, just before the war, they started with Poland, they sent a lot of spies. And Poland came out orders. The Polish government gave us order to do things what seems later that they did that because Germans tell them to do to protect themselves when they come to the country. Like for instance, if people have houses with the fenced-in houses, then they tell them they have to any other take out that if the army come, they can see that nobody's hiding. Then we saw that the Polacks.
And this was before the war. The Polish government had
just before the war, short time, and they come out with this kind of different orders. But later we find out this benefit the Germans because they can't see if somebody's hiding behind the fence. You know, every other
board had to be taken out?
Yeah.
Did you hear about anything else that was happening in Germany?
In Germany, yeah, because a lot of German Jews start coming to our city. Then we know what's going on.
And how did your everyday life change at home while Hitler was coming to power in Germany, but before the war?
We were preparing. You know, we were preparing, hiding. For instance, my family, we had a basement. In that city, the basements, usually in some basements you can go to the whole city from the Polish wars in history. They used to build, when they built churches, they built tunnels that you can go from one end to another.
Were you connected to those tunnels in your house?
No, but we had a good place. And my mother prepared food and things. We stayed there with few families.
Did you or any members of your family try to leave at this time?
No.
No.
It was too late.
Pardon?
It was too late.
You remember any acts of anti-Semitism
Yeah,
at that time, just before the invasion?
yeah.
Anything specific you could share with us?
I remember when I was coming out from ice skating from a park, then I had to pass very good neighborhood street. And as I walk, there was a house, just like a estate, and two brothers, Lipinski, they started attacking us. Then I didn't know what to do. I had a skate, and I hit him on the head, on bloody his head. And from that time, he never started with us. Plus, there were older people, and I knew them well because they were businessmen. And they used to have nightstick, but they used to wrap up in the newspaper, holding onto the arm. This way, in back street, now I see if they see a Jew, bingo, hit him right away. That was a lot.
Had that gone on for years, or just?
For years, but not pogroms. No, in our cities, no.
Now, let's talk about the early days of the occupation by the Nazis and before the ghetto period. Where were you living when the war broke out in September
Piotrkow.
1939?
Piotrkow.
And what happened in your town between the time the war started and the Nazi occupation? Between the time the Nazis invaded Poland and the time they got to your town?
They got on the first day.
Well, they were there the first day?
Yeah.
Describe what you saw the day the Nazis entered.
I was sleeping in the bunker, in the basement. But they told me I slept through the whole bombing, 2 days or whatever.
Your town was bombed as well?
Yeah. Then, when I got up and I went on the street, it was empty, but then I see from far away that German soldiers coming. Then one of the soldiers start yelling in German I should stop and put my hands up. I did it.
How old were you then, Mark?
That was 1939, and I was born 1923. 39, 16. But really 15 because I was born December 23. Yeah, then I was young, and when I heard that, I hung by. Then the soldier asked me when he came over, how did you understand what I'm talking to you? I told him I learned German in school, and it sounds to me just like Jewish. Are you Jewish? I said, yes. Then he had friend him far away from him and say, hey, Hans, look, this is eine Jude. Like, look, he is a Jewish. They were thinking maybe have horns and thing. Yeah.
Do you recall your thoughts at that moment when you first encountered this first Nazi soldier?
The truth was that sometimes in the beginning, the way was in the beginning, sometimes we were talking, if the German take over the city, but if they're gonna treat us well, then we be better off than with the Polacks. You know, but later find out that they start.
How did the non-Jewish population react to any acts against the Jews?
Very bad. They had, even after a few weeks, when the Germans already occupy on one side, the dates, I'm very bad in the dates. Then they had the signs, the German put signs that each Polak who gonna say where the Jews hiding, they get a pound sugar or thing, and they have plenty of volunteers to tell.
Did the national government make any attempt to protect the
They didn't
Jewish
have
population?
nothing to say, no, not at all.
Were there other changes that took place in your town? Was there any gathering of Jews or anything like that before the ghetto started?
Before the ghetto, we had There was regular Jewish organization. They were very active. We have Jewish library. We had Jewish organization. They had big halls. We have Maccabi. We had Hapoel, soccer teams. Yeah, normal life we had.
This was after the German occupation?
No, just
Before? Were any new laws imposed upon you at the time the Germans took over your town?
after a while there came all the restrictions. You can go here, you can leave the city, you
I
can,
mean,
yeah. This is Germans.
the Germans said the Jews could not do
No,
what?
no businesses, and after a while they built a ghetto for us. When we-
But before that, any other things they did?
Restriction, you had to go to work. They used to grab you on the street. On every time, different work, for instance. Sometimes we used to go to the train station and unload it from the trains, loads. And then, if winter time, we had to go and clean streets and from snow, this kind of work.
Were you paid for that work?
No.
Could you describe the day you left your home and what your thoughts were at that time?
We lived with the thoughts that another day that we're not going to make it because they start getting worse and worse.
Did they form a ghetto in your city?
Yes, right away too.
Was your home in that area? That was
No,
part of the
I
ghetto?
moved to the ghetto. We got one room for 6. But in ghetto,
What were you allowed to take with you, Mark? What did you bring with you when you left for the ghetto?
the problem is that people, when it's in this situation, they're taking things where they don't need it, and it's not worth the nickel. We took pillows, beds, things like this that we can put our heads down. But there were people that were working with pots or teapot. They panic, whatever they could grab.
And they moved you into a house or
There were regular houses. That section used to be lived. They used to live Jewish, very poor people. And then they make the ghetto there, and you get a room for the family.
was it just one room for the whole family?
Yeah.
Was your father still working at that time?
No, nobody. No.
What
He
happened?
just worked if they got him on the street or
What happened to your father's business?
they confiscate.
This was before you went into the ghetto?
Yeah.
You remember before?
Yeah.
Before. Was he given any money for it?
No. Their money, no such thing. Everything belonged to them. For instance, they could come, a soldier had the right to do with the Jews whatever he wants. For instance, the young soldiers, they used to pick her up, Polish girls. And the Polish girl, she know that this Jewish family has a forecourt, and she tell them, come, let's go. And they took forecourt or whatever, and they didn't do anything to them. They never pay anything. They just take from us. We had to go. We have to sometimes came an order that everybody has to give back gold what they have. One time they came with money. They need so and so much money. If not, they're gonna kill so and so many Jews. That's the way they used to operate.
Was your father able to salvage anything out of his business before he went to the ghetto?
Yes. My father he used to like diamonds, but not regular diamond. He used to, matter of fact, I used to live with him. Stones, big stones, and he used to hold in his hands. Matter of fact, I remember we sitting once in the shul while we praying. Then next to us used to sit another man who used to be jewelry, diamonds. So they used to do business during and forecourts and everything. And my father gave this to some Polish neighbor, good friend, who my father used to help him out during the regular time. But he never got them back.
Did he take any of the diamonds and the stones with him?
No. My sister did. And it did.
Now, how did you learn that you had to live in a ghetto?
We got the room and we had to sit there and live there. That's...
Did they publish a notice, or they came around and told everybody?
Yeah, that too. I don't remember to what time we have to leave the city, the streets, and go back home like 8 o'clock. There was a strict rules what we can do, not to go out at night, things like that.
Do you remember the approximate date that you entered the ghetto?
Piotrkow ghetto, I would say 1939, 1940.
Was the ghetto enclosed, Mark?
Yes, with wires.
What do you recall about the first day you entered the ghetto?
That was bad. Who knows if you come out alive there, because it was a winter time, I remember. Winter time, the German who watched the camp, the ghetto, they used to make on this side, not on the other side, make big fires because it was cold. Then the soldiers, once in a while, they used to go to the ghetto, pick piece of furniture, put on the fire, take a live baby, throw in the fire, things like this they used to do.
Did you ever see that happen?
Yes.
What was the people's reaction to that?
They were afraid to say anything.
Were there gates on the ghetto as well?
Sure. There were gates because when they used to come and they need 100 people to work from ghetto. Then we used to go through the gate, and then 10 hours later or 8 hours later we came back through the gates.
What were the guards' duties at the gate?
Just listen to open and close, that's all.
Were the guards Polish or German?
German.
German. And could you describe the living conditions, what they were like in the ghetto from the standpoint of, say, food?
There was no food, was getting dirty, typhus, sickness.
Where did you get the food that you had?
The German gave us a little bit. But I remember they were so bad when people start getting typhus. They used to take them to special hospitals. But we were lucky because my father brought some money with him. Then we could buy injection that were selling on the black market. They cost like 1,000 zloty, one injection. Then we got all injection when we were lucky.
What was the injection for?
Against the typhus.
Did it seem to work?
Yeah.
Who supplied these?
We bought from the doctor, but the doctors probably got from the German. The German probably say, here, try to sell it, who knows? This I don't know. What was it? But they were Jewish doctor. But there was a black market done.
How many people, do you have any idea how many lived in the ghetto?
A few thousand.
How about water supply? Do you have sufficient?
Water, we had water because there were regular houses with the sink.
How about heat?
No heat.
What happened to sleeping accommodations?
Pardon me?
Sleeping accommodations. How did you all sleep at night? You only had, what, one room?
One room, on the floor.
And was there electricity?
Yeah.
How about sanitation?
Bad. because in this neighborhood with the ghetto they made, the normal, they didn't have good plumbing, I think, even in the normal condition, because it was very poor. And that's how the sickness, many people got sick because of hygienic problems. And
Were there any other types of sickness or epidemics in the time you were in the ghetto that you remember?
that was the biggest one.
And that was continuing, the typhus?
But later, they used to take the Jews and shoot them because they're sick.
Where did they do that?
Pardon me?
Where did they do that?
They used to do in different, outside that city there were woods. And they used to dig out holes there, and they used to bring them and shut them there. And sometimes they even invited other Nazi figures to help them go for shooting, like hunting, Because I remember there was one Nazi, he wouldn't hit the Jew, he used to say that he is from Vienna, then he doesn't want to hurt the Jews. But when he was invited to that hunting, he had to kill the people because he was watched. He was afraid of the other Germans. Then from that time, when he started shooting, he became the worst. He used to work by us. A few times he killed somebody because he got used to it or whatever.
You remember his name?
No.
But
I didn't know.
When they shot the Jews, how did they do it? What did they do? Do you know? When they had this hunting session?
No, they used to dig big hole, and they line up the Jews and they shoot them.
Did you ever witness this?
No.
Were you able to see this? Do you know of anyone who ever came back from one of those?
Yeah. There are few came back. That's how we know what's happening.
Could you tell me what they told you?
The same with
How
them.
did they get away?
They pretended they're dead.
Did you do work while you were in the ghetto?
Yes.
What kind of work?
Cleaning streets, snow, unloading cement bags from the trains. Yeah, all kind of used to
Was your work in the ghetto or out of the ghetto?
out the ghetto. They used to come pick us up, and then they bring us back.
Now, besides going out for work, were you able to leave the ghetto at any other time?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
My father was in the leather business. Then I had a boots. I was young, better looking than now. And I had a nice little hat when I had a leather. Then I used to
A leather coat?
coat. Then I used to go outside the ghetto, and they didn't recognize me. And I had to go to different people, to different Polak, because my father and another few people, you want to know the names?
Yes, please.
Yeah, my father, and then I have Uncle Kamalinsky, plus other people. They want to know what's going on in the world. Then we had couple people, Polish, who's supposed to have the radio from London and find out news. Then I used to go over there and got the news from them, and used to come back to the ghetto, and this way they used to tell whatever they figure they can trust, to keep the people a little bit on the good side that the American come and English fighting here. If they were true or not, I don't know. But I remember being doing this. And beside this, I was working sometimes for the Jewish organization there. And they needed medicine. And then I used to get a permit from the German to go and buy medicine. Sometimes you get, depends who is at that time and the commander. Sometimes they were nice, they let you go for medicine and things.
Now, the times that you went out that you were not supposed to go out, were you supposed to be wearing a Jewish star?
Yeah, I didn't wear, I took the chance. Because it was very important, because that's what kept the people going.
Did that happen often?
No, I would take too much chance.
What rules were established by the Nazis for the operation of the ghetto? Anything special? Describe some of the actions that the Nazis had in the ghetto.
They used to come one time, they need or they're locked up like intelligentsia. Hostages. They used to take hostages.
How did they determine who the intelligentsia were?
This I don't know.
They just gathered them together?
Gathered together, and then they say if you give 10 or 20, I don't know that amount, money or gold, then you can get them back. If not, then we're going to take them and shoot them. But they did this the same with the Polish intelligentsia too.
Any other type of actions that they took in the ghetto, during the operation of the ghetto?
They used to come to houses, take whatever they wanted. They used to come to the houses, pick up people to work.
Did the Jewish community organize to help itself in that ghetto?
What do you mean?
Well, did they have a group of any kind that,
Anti-war, anti-German?
Yeah, in the ghetto, and the Jews in the ghetto.
I don't know, I was too young, I didn't go with the...
Was there a Judenrat appointed
Yes.
in the ghetto? How were the people chosen who were to be on it?
We used to have the Judenrat before. And they were the heads of the Jewish population.
And what did they do under the Nazis?
They used to give orders like, because when the Germans need people to work later, then they call or send them, not that they want 50 for this and this place, 100 for this and this, and that's how they got it.
Do you feel the Judenrat did anything to help the people?
Sometime I think would be worse without them, but probably there were some people who helped them out, It's hard to tell.
Do you remember the names of any of the leaders of the Judenrat at that time?
No.
Now, let me ask about the police force in the ghetto. Was there a Jewish police force?
Yeah. There were some nice guys and bad guys,
Was there more than one police organization?
Just one. Oh no, and there was sanitation also.
What did the Jewish police do?
When they got ordered to deliver people, they used to go from house to house, pick up the young people. On the sanitation department, their job was to see that everything is clean, because they were afraid that we get sick, epidemics, something. But they were nice.
Were there many that were abusive, or?
In the police?
Yeah.
Yeah. There were some abusive. There were some bad guys, yeah. And then there were nice who helped.
How were they appointed, the Jewish police? How did they get their jobs?
I'm not sure. that they came out an order who wants to be or belong to the Gemeinde, then
Were there any Jewish or non-Jewish organizations outside the ghetto that offered any help to the Jews inside?
never.
Can you describe some of the other activities that went on inside the ghetto, the religious activities?
People used to daven, hiding, and there were religious people who strictly,
Did you have a
that-
shul inside the ghetto?
yeah, they did not, but not
Secret.
officially. For a stable, I don't know if you know what it is. Yeah.
How about educational needs? Any way the children were educated in
Yeah,
the ghetto?
well, some people claim by, you can't tell everything so much, that some people, some teachers that had few students and they
Was there
tried to
formal-
teach them, but no formal, no legal,
How about cultural activities, plays?
No. nothing.
Were you aware of any Christians that were living in the ghetto?
No,
Did you know of any resistance or underground organizations in the ghetto? Were there any individual acts of defiance or resistance in the ghetto that you remember?
oh, yeah. That happened a few times, like if some young people, I think, didn't want to listen to them, they shot them, or, yeah. But mostly the older people, they just follow the orders.
How did the Nazis respond to any acts of resistance or defiance?
We didn't see it. But I remember when I was a kid, they asked me to be what they call gonyets. You know what goes deliver little messages and from office to office. But I worked for a short time. And this was a help for me too, because this way I could go outside the ghetto and bring the news to the... That's the only thing. We had few people in the ghetto who had to have the news. Like, the Zoners go higher, the American are closer to us, or no kind of thing, booby minds. And we believe in it because that was the only hope we had. And this took us 5-6 years like that.
Was the news just passed around by word of mouth, or was anything written? And
No, they tell me. I tell one body. They don't tell everybody, because if they would find out, they would be locked up how you get the news. We had to be very careful. That's why just few people, and each one probably trusts somebody his own and tell.
in your living accommodations, was there any other families that lived with you in that apartment?
Yeah, but plenty of family, because the apartment were big, 3, 4 rooms, 5 rooms.
Was there a family in each room, or?
Family, or, they just... Then, before that, they took all the furniture, everything away. They used to have in our city, Befelstelle. There was a place, school, different building with a lot of rooms. And in that buildings you have one section on the furniture, one section only suits, one just shoes.
Is that the Feldstädters that
Yep,
were-
the Feldstelle. And this was for the Germans. When the Germans used to come from different cities to stay in our city, they used to come, used to get apartment, then they used to come and pick up the furniture, anything.
This was all
All
stuff
Jewish,
taken from the Jews?
From the Jews, even pots, even glasses, even, you name it. There was a big department store. Only good condition.
What was that building before it was turned into this Feldstadt?
One building I remember, there used to be like a school, yeah, because it had a lot of rooms. And the rooms was all packed high.
Describe your living quarters in the ghetto.
There were regular houses, everybody got a room or 2 rooms, depends probably on the family. And that was very dirty. The walls never painted, and was very dirty because nobody had the energy, and there was no room how to clean. The living in the ghetto was very bad. And on the streets, we used to go out because we couldn't stay so much in these rooms. Then people used to talk, meet each other on the streets and talk, and then if we saw patrol German coming, then we used to run away and hide.
How long was your family able to remain together in the ghetto?
I would say around maybe 2 years, maybe less.
Did everybody in your family work the same way? Were they all just taken out on work details? Anyone have a
No,
special
everybody
job?
different, whatever they needed in the beginning. Later, my 2 sisters were taken to Skarżysko. Over there, they work in munition factories.
Mm-hmm.
And
This was near your town?
no,
No, they moved.
No, they moved them, yeah.
What did you hear about the Nazis' treatment of Jews in other parts of Europe?
The same thing. That they,
And
we had a couple Jews in our city who used to be different. They used to have a different passport. Like, I don't know if people know here, that many, many years ago, when Palestine was under Turkish, then whoever was there at that time visiting, think they got passport, Turkish passport. Then some Jewish people had the Jewish passport. They're supposed to be treated better because the special, they know, the Turkish citizen. And then there were one, what I know, but maybe one more, there was one Russian citizen, but they were Jewish. And they had little better, they were on a better condition, they didn't go to work, you know.
did anyone escape from the ghetto?
Oh yeah, they used to escape, and they were going to Russia, to cross the Russian border. Yeah, they did.
How did they get out?
At night, or from when they were marching to work. They planned ahead of time. There are a lot of people, yeah, escaped.
Did they?
They came back. I mean, now they, not now, but if they're still alive, I don't know, but they came back. Yeah.
So they got away while they were working, they got away at night?
Night or...
Through the fences or over the
Yeah,
fences?
and they even bribed the German,
Were there any suicide attempts in the ghetto that you were aware
not
of?
that I know.
Mark, what is the most powerful memory of your ghetto experience?
I was going on the street, on the sidewalk with the girl. I don't know, I was 13, 14, 15. And a little kid was riding on a bicycle with the swastika Hitlerjugend. And he started pushing us with the bicycle. We should go in the middle of the street, not on the sidewalk. Sidewalk is not for Juden, you know, it's not for Jews. Then I said to the girl, you start running, go home. While she was far away, I know he's not going to catch her. Then I hit him on the head, I put him down and beat him up and run away too. But then I was afraid for a whole week to go out. There's certain satisfaction you get, you know.
Let's talk about the deportation from the ghetto. Was the ghetto liquidated all at one time or piece by piece?
No. At one time, not far outside the city, there was a big company, glass factory. Just like the movie with Schindler. There was a local company, and people who did business with that company before the war, one of them was my brother-in-law. Then the owner was German, but before the war, many years, he used to own the place. and they were on a good. Then my brother-in-law and his brother-in-law, we used to do business with this man, and they asked him if he would build like barracks and take some Jews to work for him, because we used to work there anyway. But this way he would keep us there and feed and everything, and he agreed. Then we stayed.
Who asked him about this?
My brother-in-law, his name is Fellner, and his brother-in-law,
What was his first name?
Joseph. And his brother-in-law was Kreitman. I don't remember the first name. He was how much older than he was.
And so they asked this for a friend
And
of
they
theirs.
did just on the same type like the Schindel job. The only thing was much better condition than any other camp. The only thing was by the end they didn't let them stay. They had to leave too.
How many Jews lived in this barracks at the camp?
Oh, I would say 400 maybe, few hundred.
How long did they stay there?
We stayed there, I would say, 1942 to 1944.
And what sort of work did you do?
Glass factory. I used to cut hot glass. When the glass comes from the machine, I used to break the glass.
And what glass products were they making there?
Over there, just window glass. There was another company next to us. They used to make glasses and things, the different things.
Did the rest of your family work at the same place?
Yeah,
Were there separate barracks for men and women?
yeah,
And the barracks were right at the
yeah,
factory?
yeah.
Were there non-Jews working there as well?
The company was very big, yes.
So you
They're
were
all masked.
mixed in with the non-Jews?
Yeah, working, we were mixed together. The only thing was we used to go from our camp, little distance, like 100, 200 feet, and they used to take us to the factory. The factory was all closed up with fence. The only thing for a while they didn't have enough to take care, to watch, Then they got Russian Cossacks because they didn't want to take soldiers to watch it. Then they picked up from little Russian with the little horses, the Cossacks, and they used to be awful. They used to run so fast on the horses, hitting QT,
Were they prisoners as well?
Pardon me?
Were they prisoners as well?
No. They were taking care. They had the...
No. Did you get paid for the work that you did there?
Never.
Did they feed you?
Yeah.
That was supply clothing?
Horse meat.
What was the typical daily ration while you were working?
No,
What
the
did you have
food
in the
wasn't
morning?
too bad there. I don't remember exactly. Because over there my mother worked in the kitchen. But you couldn't tell if it's horse meat or not. They put a lot of garlic and onions and...
So you stayed at that camp, you said, for about 2
Around, yeah.
years? And what happened then?
From there, they sent us to Częstochowa.
Why did they send you? What happened? Did they close this whole...
They closed. That's what I mentioned before.
Yeah.
They couldn't keep us forever because you see, the owners of big companies, when they need workers, they have to get from the highest offices from Germans. And then the Germans didn't give them the permit to have us working for them. That's why they had to liquidate. When they liquidate, I was sent to a munition factory in Częstochowa.
While you were at this Kara glass factory, besides for the Russian Cossacks, did anyone abuse the prisoners?
No. Over there was not so bad because we were working with the workers, Polacks. They used to come, go, whatever they feel, you know. And some used to bring food, used to trade for something else, you know. That was better than in the ghetto, because we were in touch like with the outside. We didn't go out, but we had.
Now, you mentioned Czestochowa. What happened?
They take us there for.
Do you remember about when that was?
Around November 44 to January 45
How did they take you there?
by train.
And where is Czestochowa located?
Częstochowa is very famous city. It's a couple hundred miles. But,
What kind of train did they transport you on?
you know, they transport you in the plain wagon, what they take for horses and cows and everything.
Did you know where you were going when they loaded you in these
No.
cars?
They never tell you ahead of time.
Did you try and hide?
No, we couldn't hide there. Everything when they used to do unexpected. All of a sudden, you look and you have all surrounded with the SS and
Who in your family left with you?
everybody.
And what personal possessions were you able to take with you?
Nothing.
Can you describe what you remember of the scene when you were loaded onto the train to go?
When we went to the train, it was a couple hour ride. When we went to the factory, not long. We didn't stay too long, and there's some kind of munition caps or thing we were doing, but nothing special.
How long were you at Czestochowa?
I imagine by a couple of weeks, a few weeks. And then they,
Did you go to work there? They put you to work right away?
yeah,
And did you live in a ghetto or barracks?
barracks,
What were you manufacturing there?
munition factory.
And what did you do? What was your job?
I don't know, some kind of shells or whatever this machine used to.
And what happened? Anything unusual happened while you were at that munitions
No.
factory?
No, over
Were you
there
work-
we didn't know much.
Were you working alongside the Poles as
That
well?
was the same, yeah.
Were you fed?
I wouldn't say, little, not bad, we livable, yeah,
Were you paid at all?
no.
What was the reaction of the Polish workers that you were with to the fact that
Some
you
that
there?
were nice, and some they didn't care, they didn't want to talk to you, they didn't want to tell. You know, some were nice to tell us all radio news and this and that.
And what happened there? Anything unusual? Any
Over there,
memory?
you know, when I don't have much recollection from there because it was so fast.
Then where did you go from Czestochowa?
From Częstochowa, we went to Buchenwald.
And do you remember when that was?
Buchenwald from January 18, around that day, to January, to the end of the month. I was there for a couple of weeks or so.
What year was that?
1945.
Why did they take you from Czestochowa, do you know? And bring you to Buchenwald?
They didn't tell us.
When you got to Buchenwald, we were there about how long?
For a couple of weeks.
And what did you do when you were there?
Nothing. They put us, we had to, over there, if you tried to save through the whole time something, you couldn't, because they got us completely naked, and then to the shower. We were thinking that we're going to get the gas.
Did you know about that at that time?
Yeah. We were,
How did you find out?
you know, there was always people used to bring news that somebody run away from here or there and what's going on. We had, if there were true information, I don't know, but we used to get news and different news, political news.
Tell me about Buchenwald when you arrived. You arrived...
And Buchenwald, everything by train.
Same cattle cars?
Yeah. Can I go?
Yeah, would you like to take a break?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, we're going to take a break for just a couple of minutes. We're gonna
Okay,
stop the
just a
tape.
second.
Yes, that's fine. We'll stop the tape.
Where's the rest?
We were talking about your arrival at Buchenwald.
Yeah, I arrived in Buchenwald with my brother Joseph.
Anyone else with you at that time?
My father was with me, but then he stayed there, and my brother and myself, I was sent to another camp.
Where were your mother and your sisters at that time?
My mother, after the war, I find out at that time my mother was in some camp near Berlin.
Was she with you when you were in the Chester home?
No, she was with me in
Laura?
Kara. Yeah.
Okay. So now you arrived there with your father?
With my father
And your brother?
and my brother. Then we stayed there a couple of weeks or something like that. And then,
Were you put to work when you were there?
no,
How did you arrive there?
by train.
What were your thoughts when you arrived? What did you see when you arrived?
We were thinking that we're going to slaughter.
And what actually happened as you got off the train?
They lined us up, take us to the room. We had to take everything off. Then they took us to another room. There were the whole ceiling with the sprayers. And they gave us, we were thinking we were going to get gas, but there was water. They washed us there, and then we got the uniform, the stripe, and we wait for work.
And how long did you wait?
I figure about a couple of weeks, maybe less.
Did they find work for you?
Not the work over there. They took us on the train, the whole group of people.
And about what time was this?
This was about 2 weeks ago, after
Okay.
that.
What year? This was 19...
This was 1945,
and
beginning.
And you were taken from
There with my
Buchenwald
brother.
With your brother?
Right.
Your father stayed at Buchenwald?
My father, we didn't know. We know he was in Buchenwald, but we don't know where they sent him because they didn't tell
You were
us.
separated when you got to the
We
camp?
were separated.
So you and your brother then went where?
We went to Laura. Laura was the company which used to make the rockets, V1, V2.
Where was that camp located?
There's, I think, in around Leipzig, around there. They didn't tell us. I still don't know where it is exactly, because after the war I tried to find out. I want to see, because to work over there on the company, that's just like Julius Verne fantasy, everything in the mountain.
Tell me about your arrival at Laura.
On Laura, we arrived a different way. We came maybe about 20 miles before Laura. They stopped the train, and train from Laura came. And they tell us that we have to go on this train, and we go to the camp. Later we find out that this was a secret place, that they didn't want the train men to know where they're going. That's why in the middle of the night they stopped the train maybe 10 miles or 20 miles, you know. And we got there. Over there, the condition, there were little houses on the mountain. There was in the mountain, Slate Mountain. Then it looked like the house, the people used to, maybe hotels or some kind of, because the houses was normal, like clean rooms, everything. We were the first there.
And how many people came with you?
I would say a couple hundred.
And they put you in these little houses?
These little houses, they built bunker.
Were they bunkers
Yeah.
underneath?
Yeah. And over there we stayed till we got set up, everything. Then...
Well, let me just make it clear. They were little houses, and under
Yeah.
the houses were bunkers, or was that...
No, bunks,
Oh,
two
bunks in the house, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this was in the mountain. Looking very nice, the surrounding, because you don't see anything but the mountain. But then,
What time of the year was that?
this must be, I would say, around beginning the year, like in April
Of 19...
45, maybe before. But anyway, and then everybody, after the next day, they got us in different groups, and we used to go to different work. The beginning, I remember, we used to go to the mountain to work.
What sort of work did you do?
Yeah, we have to. I was so small. When I used to get a drill, it was so high, electric drill, I couldn't control nobody. But anyway, they keep us there, and from one place take the
Did you drill holes in the mountain with the...
Yeah, but this, you see the Slate Mountain, you can't drill a hole, you have to go layer by layer. And then when we had a whole bunch of it, and we had like, take the here, put over there. The other group from there, put over there, just to keep us moving. And then after a while, we went to work inside the mountain. When you go over there, what you will see there, I never see, only in the fantasy movies, wagons and trains and everything.
Well, tell me about it. Tell me the first time you went into the mountain.
When we went to the mountain, there was tremendous holes. The water was dripping from the side. We had there thousands of pipe connections, railroad. We had railroad there. They used to come there, the regular car with the big, whatever they call, with oil or alcohol, because they had to, for burning the B1, you know. That was fantastic. It's unbelievable how they could build something like this on the ground. On American used to tried to bump the place, but they couldn't because the bumps didn't affect the mountain.
Did you go inside the mountain at all?
Yes, that's what we used to go, and we used to have alarms. That American coming, then we used to hide there together. Yeah.
What sort of work did you do inside them?
They had big rockets on the little wagons. We used to push them to different places because they used to test them. When they were testing the rockets, the mountain shake, you couldn't take it. It was awful.
But they tested them outside or inside?
Inside, everything inside, because we knew, because when you, well, over there, we met Russian and French workers.
Were they prisoners as well?
Prisoners, yeah. Over there, yeah, because I remember one time next to me, outside, were working French, and some Nazis sit there with this machine gun or whatever. When this guy was tired, couldn't work, this Frenchman anymore. You know, they were like skeleton. They couldn't work. Then they say, then they say, "Vive la France," you know, in spite of the soldier. Then the soldier took the machine gun and killed him right away.
Did you see many instances of brutality in that?
One, this killing, one.
How was the food and the...
Food wasn't too bad, because if they want you to work, they have to give you something. Otherwise, they'll be skeleton.
Did you ever see the rockets launched? Did you ever see them launch them from there?
No. It was secret. They didn't want to. They used to say, I don't know if it's true, but later they used to say that von Braun used to work there someplace. He used to be there, Dr. von Braun.
Did you know what the rockets were for?
Yeah, to bomb London.
You had never seen anything like that before.
No.
How big were the rockets?
Oh, the rocket used to be, I would say, this high as this movie camera was high.
Long?
Long. But one thing was, when they used to fill it up with alcohol, they used to come the big tanks, like you see with here, the gasoline trucks. But over there, they used to come by train. Then somebody, I didn't see it, but somebody told me, if you wanted schnapps, you can get. The Russian prisoner, they used to make hole in the tank, and they used to stay with the pots and fill it up, and then they get through. But then we find out, don't touch it now, because the German put poison in it,
So how long did you stay at Laura?
2 weeks, I think. I went to make sure Laura, I would say about 3 months,
Were there many German scientists? Did you see
Nobody.
scientists?
No, we don't see that. That's to have offices, something, no.
You just said you saw soldiers?
Soldiers, yeah. They're all over because it's a secret place.
And how, were you aware that they were launching those rockets at that time, or they were not ready to launch them yet?
They were saying that they just go for England, but they didn't tell us. There are rumors.
How long did you stay at that camp?
But a few months.
And then you were taken to...
From there, before we left, the one day, the head of the camp came over and said, guys, tomorrow you're not going to go to work. I want you to clean up whoever live in the rooms and then clean it up, the whole place. When the Russians come and they see that you have them, this way the Germans can show how nice they live, and this way but we didn't have the luck anymore. Next day, the Germans surround us, take us on a train, and again, we left the place.
Where did they take you to this time?
This time, somebody say that we're gonna go this time because from each side, everybody's coming. They're losing the war. They want to kill us. But meanwhile, as we're riding on a train, they take us to Allah. That's a camp of Dachau, division of Dachau. And they took us there. Over there was very bad. We didn't have no clothes, nothing. They took everything, just cover, It was very bad. And over there was a lot of Hungarians, Jews.
About when did this take place? Do you remember? This was in 1940?
This was about 1945, beginning. Then over there we stayed not too long. Over there, but the condition was impossible. You don't get anything there. Plus, you can look any place. Every place you look, then you see trucks coming with dead bodies full stuck up. And some people say that some became unique people. I don't know, but happened.
I mean, the prisoners?
The prisoners. They were so conditioned if you would have to stay there alone, whoever stayed. Yeah. One was very bad. Then from there...
But there was no food? They fed...
No, they don't give you anything. They have water, thing. And they were women, but they were separately. Then they put...
Did you work at all?
Over there, no work. They just keep you. If somebody needs people, companies need people, then they send. Then one day, they take us on a train again. And this train was good. First time we got stopped in a little town, and while we staying there and staying, the Red Cross came in. And first time the Red Cross gave us packages. You know, that was the first time, just the day before war, or maybe it was ready.
It was on the train or on the way through the train?
No, when we traveled by train, that was very miserable. We were by hundreds and one. We couldn't sit. We have to stay.
Same cattle cars? Or?
Yeah, we had to stay. And when we got to, from there we got to little town Staltach. Staltach was in Oberbayern, that's a province in Bavaria someplace, little town. And as we staying there, just a few hours before we got the Red Cross packages, first time something to eat, and all of a sudden we start shooting. We heard shooting. Then the American stopped, the whole train stopped, but he take the German. They took the Germans, and they tell us there was a Polak or somebody talking to Polish to us from the officers, and he said, "Look, we have to march. We can't stay with you for a few days. Help yourself, whatever you can. Go any place, help yourself. On the next, when they come, they will take care." Then
what happened to the German soldiers that were guarding
they
him on
took
the train?
him with them. They took him with them. And we went to the town. There was shoe factory. Then everybody got themselves a pair of shoes. Then
What did the Germans say as you came into town?
they tried to close the doors. They didn't want to let us out because we didn't have anything.
Well, what did you look like at that point?
Like we used to call Musliman. They were very, just the bones, you know. But we stayed there a few days. The Americans.
How did you get food to eat?
From the Germans.
They give it to you? Or?
We take it, we went to the store, we didn't ask because the American soldiers say, do whatever you can, help yourself for a few days. And when the American came in, this got to be better because the first thing what they do, they line us up on the street. And they spray us all over. That was the best thing they ever did because we had so many louse. We were covered. It was awful. From that time with the spray, I never saw another one. And then,
What were your thoughts when the Americans came onto the train and said you were free?
we was happy. They used to kiss them and all kind of, yeah, they were happy. But then he tell us that now everybody's taking care, you have food, you have everything. Now you can go wherever you want. Then they told me that this one camp, DP camp, near Munich, the name is Felderfink. Then I took my brother and we went there. There was a nice camp. You have Jews, Greeks, Jewish Greeks, all kind Jewish DP camp. Then over there was food ready. It started getting better because the Americans start supply. But one day they announced that army rabbi is coming Saturday to conduct prayers. Good. Then I prepare slips with my family's name. When I ask him, if you go to different camps, put just on the board. And he did, because a few weeks later, my mother was in Bergen-Belsen. She was sick. Then when he hanged this, somebody came to my mother and tell her, you know, your two sons or in Felderfink, that's American song. My mother was in Bergen-Belsen, that's a English song. Then my mother told my brother was there, Leon Dunsky. Then my mother, then Leon, he went to the British commander and asked if he can get somebody to drive him there. And one day he comes with the jeep and pick us up. And we took the whole ride to the whole Germany going back to Bergen-Belsen. In Bergen-Belsen, my brother stayed with my mother. They had an apartment, nice. Compared with the condition, before.
What was your mother's condition at the time you saw her?
She was sick, but she was coming to herself after a while. And one sister was there, Rachel, but with my mother. My other sister, she was in Leipzig. And my father was in Theresienstadt, but we didn't know yet. But after a while, my father, Theresienstadt is in Czechoslovakia. Then my father, when he was free, he went to Poland because he's got the friends there, he's got the money there, everything hidden. But he didn't get anything. He was very disappointed because his friends and things. And my sister also went to Piotrkow, but there was nothing there to be. Then my brother-in-law also went to Poland and picked them up for Bergen-Belsen. Then they had apartment. They lived there. I left there. I didn't want to live in the DP camp.
Where did you go?
I went to Hanover.
To what?
Hanover.
In Germany?
In Germany, I stayed there, private home, private everything.
Did you work at that time?
In Hanover?
Yeah.
Yeah. No business, but, monkey business.
Then, when were you all united? Was it one time when the whole family got together at last?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
After I was poised with my mother and my brother, then, and my sister, one sister. The other sister, my father came, took a couple months because she couldn't get no telephones, no mail.
Where did you all unite? Where did you all get
in
together?
Bergen-Belsen.
And did the family stay there? Or?
They all stayed there to the time to leave for United States.
So you and when did you never went back to your hometown? In
Me?
Poland?
No, I wouldn't go.
Did your father go?
Yeah,
So
from
he went-
Teresen,
Yeah.
from
How
came,
long did he stay there?
oh, probably a week or so.
Did he go just to look for the members of the family? Or?
Yeah, and for the people who he give things to hide, but he never got anything. They make believe they don't know who he is. And that were the people who my father helped in business, and because sometimes when my father did business, he had to use, in the army, he has to use somebody else as a front because they didn't want to bill from Jewish company to somebody else. But the army, they know because they used to get bribes. So
now, when you finally emigrated to America,
yeah,
did the family go together?
no,
Tell me about
everybody
how
different time. When I come on a Kaiser ship, the transport ship, Kaiser trip. When I work,
When was that? What year?
oh, that was when I come to the United States, about 46, no. About 49 or 50, something like that.
When you came on a ship, and you were the first one to come?
No, my brother, I think my brother came first.
Then you came?
Then I came, then my sister, and then my parents.
And where did you go when you arrived?
To New York,
Your brother was already here?
yeah.
And what did you do?
I was looking for a job. Then I went to Jewish organization.
Did any of them help, the Jewish agencies?
They give me the worst job. They gave me the worst job what there can be in New York City.
Which was?
There nobody worked there, yeah? Kind of people, I mean, that were working there, the African American, the big guys, baldy hats, cleaned from slaughterhouses, the cows, kind of thing. Then the boss came to see to the workplace what's going on, and he saw me. Then he took me to the office. What you doing here? I said, the organization sent me here. That's no work. Can I say it? That's no work for a Jewish boy. He cannot work. You have to be like this. I said, I didn't know. And he told me, go, not to stay here. The boss himself.
So it was
he apologized.
It was a slaughterhouse? It was
something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did you go from there?
From there, I went on my own. Then I got a job on the Lindsay Street. There was a store, had few rooms, tables and different things on the tables, socks, shirts. And the old man, the owner, used to sit by the entrance in exit. He used to sit with the register. Whoever picked up something, he'd tell him the price. He was crippled. When the merchandise used to get from Macy's and Gimbel's, the son used to pick it up, seconds or whatever. And that was very nice place. I worked there, and Saturday by afternoon he closed early. He'd take me for dinner in his house. He didn't have wife, he had a lady there, cook. And he was treating me very well, and I worked there for a while.
And you stayed in New York?
I stayed in New York.
Did you marry when you came to America?
I married here.
Oh.
Yeah.
In New York?
Yeah.
And how did you meet your wife?
Oh, this is story. After a while, I stayed with my cousin. My cousin, that time, he just saw his business. Then he had the time to go on vacation. Then I went with them right away on vacation in around Westchester County. And we stayed there a month. After that, he was in the delicatessen business. Then he bought another one. Then I helped him out. Then later, he told me I should stay with his son. And we got a little place in the Bronx. And over there, after a while, we closed for the Passover. On that Passover, I went on vacation again to Florida. When I met my wife, and she used to live in Florida.
How long have you been married?
47, I think, or something like that.
Do you have children?
2, boy and a girl. My son is in New York.
What does he do?
He writes music. For his wife is making movies. She makes movies for pharmaceutical companies. Matter of fact, last year before, she got the award for making Best Picture.
They have children?
One daughter, 8 years old.
And you're the child?
The only child.
Yeah, and you have another?
I have 2 more boys from my daughter, my son-in-law. They live in Boca. He's a lawyer, and she runs his office. And the boys, she's very active. She won twice already for the March of Living. She is very active in the group there. She takes the kids with her. And my grandsons, they're all...
How many grandsons?
2. They used to go. One still goes to the academy in JC in Boca, the Hebrew school.
Now, when you first came to America, when you first got here, did you speak of the Holocaust to anyone?
Very seldom.
Did you ever talk to
They
them?
didn't want to know.
Did you ever discuss it with your children?
Sometime, but they, I don't know, they were, at that time they were not interested. Now they're all active in the, I think my daughter just mentioned something that she's going the third time.
Do you ever have a desire to go back to Poland?
No. No, to Poland, no. Any place else I was ready, but not in Poland.
In the time that you were leaving Poland, did it come a time when your family was separated when you first left the ghetto? Was your mother separated from you?
No, not yet.
They stayed together. What do you feel is the most important lesson of the Holocaust, Mark?
I believe if, like I mentioned before with the German and Polacks. Now, if the Polacks had the same rights with the German, that they could go and kill a Jew and nothing would happen, we wouldn't have today Holocaust survivors. You know what I mean? Because before a German could go on the street, they wouldn't even bother looking at you. But the Polacks, they would find you. That's why I didn't want to go never to Poland back. And I criticize the people who do go, because it's not necessary. They are our enemies, and they're going to be more.
You don't think that's changed?
No.
Before we close and we look at some of the photographs that you brought, is there anything you'd like to mention about your experiences during the Holocaust that I've not asked you about?
I have some cases, for instance, I don't know, I was like, when we used to have, from time to time, they used to call us in a big place on the street, like a big market, and they used to send this to this work, different places, you know, like an auction. They used to take the slaves. Then I remember there was a big place, and I see a German taking my mother, and I see to the place that we're going to be separated. Then I figure I have nothing to lose. I run over there from my place. I run over there, and I say in German to the German soldier, look, I just talked to the commander. The commandant was far away. I just talked to him, and he told me I should take that lady. Oh yeah? Okay, take it. And I took my mother and somebody else to my place. Because I know I just taking a chance. I knew that he's not going to go and ask, because it was so tumult, you know. When I saved them that life that way. And I remember that lady, I was working with my wife in Miami. She recognized me. And she started kissing me and started telling me what happened, you know.
You hadn't seen her in all that time?
No.
That took place when in
This took place in ghettos and camps. Yeah. I had a few accidents like this, and came out, so I was lucky. You see, because I was always thinking that I'm surrounded by angels and they take care, because the whole family was alive and everything. I was lucky, you know.
Let's take a look, Mark, at some of the photographs that you brought. We're going to turn the screen around in a minute. You'll be able to see the pictures and be able to tell us what they are. No, just yeah. We're going to turn the TV around so we'll be able to see.
My father and my mother used to go in Germany while they were in Felder thing. On the left side, that's me. On the right is my father. That's in Bad Pyrmont.
This was after the war in
After the war, my mother didn't feel good. She couldn't walk. Then son had a special cool place, whatever they call. And I used to come to visit them. Then this is a picture from Bad Pyrmont. Beautiful place. That's me.
When was this taken?
Oh, that was taken by 1940, I would say 47, something like
It
that.
was taken when you were in Hanover? Or?
No, this was in Berlin, picture taken. I came by myself. This was in Bergen-Belsen. There was some kind of holiday.
About when was that taken?
At the same time.
Okay.
That's my father and my mother in that Bad Pyrmont.
That was after the war?
Yeah, a few years after the war. She used to go every year there for health, spa, you know. That's me in Bergen-Belsen. I used to go often to Bergen-Belsen. It was not far because my parents, my brother was there.
And those buildings in the back?
That's a barracks, yeah,
And that's where your parents were living at that time?
right. But this used to be also, before that, German,
The
Yeah,
Germans
that was
used that?
it.
What was that?
for themselves, Kaserne or whatever.
The German barracks?
The soldiers used to sleep there. That's my whole family at the bar mitzvah.
Okay, let's see who we have here. This
That's
is-
me and my wife Libby. This is my grandson Daniel, David. This is my son-in-law Max, or my daughter Deborah. My son Joe. No. This is my son Philip,
Right.
daughter Lucy, and Ida-Louise, granddaughter, 8 years old today, this week.
When was this picture taken?
This few months ago was my grandson bar mitzvah, David bar mitzvah.
This has been Chuck Sussman interviewing Mark Rubin about his experiences as a survivor of the Nazi Holocaust. This interview will be included as a valuable contribution to the Holocaust Documentation Center's Oral History Library for the Holocaust Documentation and Education Center Incorporated. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for spending the time with us.
Can I get my wife here? Okay. How it's come out, you know.